Hello, I'm Rose Callaghan. I am from Sydney via Melbourne, and I've been doing comedy for 5 and 7/8 of a year. I just thought I'm so funny. I need to share this with the world. I don't know. I thought I decided I want to do it, and then I got scared, and then I put it off. I entered Raw, and then I chickened out, and I didn't do it. And then eventually my friend asked me when I was drunk if I wanted to do a gig that she was running, and I said yes. And the rest is history. I was drunk when I said I would do it. And here we are. I used to do like stuff in radio. I used to be like a script writer for commercial radio and like a gossip reporter. I'm not proud of it, but I did, get some good gossip about, like, I used to it was a lot of stuff about Disney stars and like Miley Cyrus and the Jonas Brothers, that kind of thing. Pretty cool stuff. Best part about being a comedian is all the drink tickets that you get at gigs as opposed to money. When you get really famous, I hear you get a slab for every gig that you do, and I can't wait. My first gig was at like a cabaret kind of show thing that my friend put on. She had this whole cabaret act, and it was me in between like a spoken word person and like a band, and then I think I was the only comedian, and there was like 100 and something people there, and it was my first gig, and I felt like I did I was on cloud nine. I was just like, oh my God, that was so good. But in hindsight, I think I didn't have any jokes, so that was a problem, but hopefully I've resolved that. What's bombing? I'm not. This is very triggering for me. Oh God, why are you making me relive this trauma? I actually had a big bomb this year, and it was my fault. I never drink before I do gigs, but I was doing Adelaide Fringe, and I did like a lineup show, and then I did my solo show, and then I did another show, and these people were buying me drinks, and I never usually drink before I do a set, but I was like, yeah, Savvy B, I love it. Woo, I'm great at comedy. And then I was doing like a really late night show, and I was probably on stage at like almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and when I was like, oh no, I've got to go to this gig. Oh no, I've fucked it. And it was a brutal late night gig, and I was telling a long story, which is great for late night drunk audiences. They love that. And then some guy was heckling me, and I was like, I'm gonna go him. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I'm gonna be a hard ass comic. And then that wasn't going very well, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself after the gig. Classic line. And then these girls started yelling at. She was like, it's not cool to joke about suicide. And I was like, oh yeah, I know, I'm sorry, that's a problematic thing to say. And then the other girl was like, boo, you're not funny, get off. And I was like, and I didn't finish my joke. I was like, bye. I'd also gone way over time as well, and everybody hated me, and I went off stage, and I just started bawling straight away. But I didn't let them see me cry. I waited. I was like, and then I was like, ah! And then I found out that I was also getting paid for the gig, and I got that money, and I felt bad about it, but I still took the money because I needed it. My favourite, I love Anne Edmonds. I just think she's the funniest. She's like one of my favourites in Australia. I don't know, it always changes. I love Ali Wong, her special, Baby Cobra. I think that's so funny. I always watch that special if I'm like not feeling very funny and I've got a gig to go to and I need to like pump myself up. She's like 8 months pregnant in that, which I think is pretty cool. Then she did another special and she's also pregnant in that. So I feel a lot of pressure now because it's like, if I ever get to do a 1 hour special, I feel like I'd have to be pregnant as well. Doing this video interview right now. Is that the right answer? Do I get an elephant stamp for that? The back end of it. Let's keep it. PG. No. How's comedy changed? Oh, there was like hardly any women in comedy when I started. There's heaps more now, especially where I'm from in Melbourne. There's like a lot of girls coming through, which is really good. Um, like people hopefully aren't wanking in front of people in backstage areas like they used to. Hopefully they'll learn their lesson about that. I think that like modern feminism has changed the comedy scene a lot because it was sort of like the next wave of that started just before I started doing stand-up. So it's interesting to see how the rooms have changed and people have tried to be a bit more inclusive and understand the importance of booking diverse acts. Not funny, but that's my genuine. Don't start out in comedy. Don't take my gigs. I beg of you. No, advice for people starting out in comedy would be just to start gigging, gig as much as you can. Just the more stage time that you get, the better that you'll get quicker. Listen to the audience, like test out your jokes, make notes to try and get your best five going. And, the audience, the other comics don't care if they hear you do the same bits more than once. The most important thing is to be consistent. Yeah, just to keep fucking dominating, destroying, slaying, smashing at every gig that I do. I've got to start doing that at some point eventually. Thank you guys so much for watching. No, thank you guys so much. Please follow me on the internet. I'm everywhere. Rose Callaghan, comedian. I've got a video show with my friend called Overshare with Jared and Rose, where we go and find fucked videos on the internet and talk about them, basically. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. I just got my website back up, rosecallaghan.com. It's really shit. Don't go to it, but there's stuff about me online, so come and find me and say hi.